Hello. Hey, shalom, shalom. Can y'all hear and see me? Let me know if y'all can hear and see me. Okay, I got a little bit of a delay, but I see one yes. Yeah, all praises. Hey, shalom Israel, Most High in Christ, bless him, Officer Rayuel, IUIC Raleigh, coming at you with history in the AM. Today's topic, want to deal with Absalom's treachery. Absalom's treachery. I've been dealing with a couple classes. This might have been like the third or fourth class dealing with Absalom. As you're aware, or may not be aware, Absalom is David's son, one of David's sons. This son in particular, evil man, and part of David's punishment is to have a son like Absalom who's going to do some of the worst things a son could do to his father. We're talking about treachery on a whole nother level. So I'm going to briefly skim over some of the history, which we covered before. Absalom, he's a black man. David was a black man. So this history is our history. Let's go to Romans 15:4 real quick. Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Hey, y'all excuse me, my voice kind of went out yesterday. It's coming back a little bit. But it says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So these scriptures are the children of Israel's patience and comfort. This is our book. This is our therapy. This is our revolution. This book is everything to us. And the more we study it, the closer we come to the Most High God and put off this mortal flesh and become the immortal gods and princesses we were meant to be. So we got to dive deep into our history, and we get a lot of understanding of reading about our forefathers and the trials and tribulations that they went through. So today we're dealing with David's trials and tribulations through his evil son Absalom. So we're going to go to 2 Samuel 15, just to briefly touch up on who Absalom is. It's been a little while since I last taught. 1 Samuel chapter, let's go to 2 Samuel 14 and verse 25. It says, 2 Samuel chapter 14, verse 25. Now, let me make sure I got a scribe on. Give me 1 second, make sure my scribe is on. All right. I'll get him on in a sec. If he's not already on. Looks like he is on. Shalom, bro. All right, it says 2 Samuel chapter 14, verse 25. But in all Israel, there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty. So it's a handsome man like his father David. Remember, David was ruddy. Ruddy, as I covered in other classes, ruddy means brown. Captain Gedaliah touched on it too. I think it was last Sabbath or the Sabbath before. I think it was last Sabbath he had a class. He pulled up some of the images. Matter of fact, let me pull up those images. Those same images. Bear with me 1 second. Of Absalom. Check this out. I'm reading it. It says, but in all Israel, there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty. From the sole of his foot, even to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. So Absalom is a good-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy. My picture's a little bit off. I don't know why they're off-centered. But good-looking dude. And looks will take you places. Because some people will just go off of looks and not the content of your character. Let me get that real quick. Sirach 11. Verse 2. It says, commend not a man for his beauty, not abhor a man for his outward appearance. So don't get stuck on looks. It says, the bee is little among such as fly, but her fruit is the chief of sweet things. So it said, out of all the insects that fly, bees are very small, but you wouldn't think much of it until you see the fruit of that bee, which is honey. And that is the chief product of any, like, you don't care about anything anyone makes but a bee. That's the most expensive thing some animal could probably make is honey. You see, all nations seek after honey. So that's how important the bee is, though it's just a little tiny thing. That's not to be commended for its beauty. It says, the bee is little among such as fly, but her fruit is the chief of sweet things. Boast not of thy clothing and raiment. So then, Absalom probably was a good dresser too. A lot of brothers, in the world, we were raised to look good. The better you look, the taller you are, the nicer your clothes, the better your life is. When you come into this truth, we got to put off that old. That's how Esau deals in his world. That's how Esau structures his world. It says this. It says, boast not of thy clothing and raiment, and exalt not thyself in the day of honor. For the works of the Lord are wonderful, and his works among men are hidden. Many kings have sat down upon the ground, and one that was never thought of have worn the crown. So Absalom didn't know his own father's history. If he knew it, he would realize that David's brothers looked better for king than him, outwardly. It wasn't about David's looks, though he was a ruddy child. His brothers looked more, they fit the role more. Because his father Jesse, let's go to that history real quick. I think that's 1 Samuel. His father Jesse said, check out my boys. And the last one he would have thought to even bring in front of Samuel was David. He didn't even bring David. But Samuel knew we need, there's somebody else here that needs to be chosen. Let's get it real quick. 1 Samuel, chapter 16. And I want to start at we'll start at verse 7. I'll start verse 6. It said, and it came to pass when they were come. Oh, no, I'm sorry, verse 5. No, I started verse 4. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 4. And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. I'll start at verse 3. It says, and call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. So the Lord said, I'm going to show you who I want. I'm going to show you who I want. It says, and he said, peace, verse 4, and Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably? Because when Samuel showed up on the scene, they had a fear of him. That's how you should be when you show up in the cities, you brothers that teach. Not fear out of, oh, he's going to cuss out white folks. We're going to come, we're going to reprove and rebuke with all authority. That should bring a certain level of respect where people are like, oh, we don't want that biblical smoke. We don't want the smoke. Is everything all right? You got everything you need? So watch what Samuel says. He says, verse 5, and he said peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. So he called Jesse and his sons down. And it came to pass, when they were come, they looked on Eliab, and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. So one of the sons of Jesse was Eliab. He said, man, this guy, it's got to be the guy the Lord anointed. It must have been some outward thing he saw that, oh man, this guy's tall. Look at the muscles on this guy. The beard is down to, you know what I mean? Something physical must have told him, that's the Lord's anointed. But the Lord said to Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature. So he's probably a tall brother. It said, because I have refused him. So I don't want that one. Yeah, you look good. That's not who I want. It says, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. So the Lord said, I looked inside that man. There's something I don't like on the inside of that guy. Absalom had not received that message. Absalom looked good on the outside. Well, as we're going to read, he nasty on the inside. He a bad dude. It's in verse 8. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, now they have the Lord chosen this. I said, dang, that's probably another tall brother, another muscular brother. Looks like a leader, looks the part. Wide shoulders. Nah. I said, Lord ain't chose this one. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord have not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? He said, something's up. It got to be somebody else. And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. So that proves like, hey, he looked different than his brother. He's probably, if his brothers were tall, David had to look, smaller. He had to look, just a pretty boy. There's no way this guy's going to be a warrior, much less a king or anything like that. He's just down there with the sheep. But inside that man's heart, which is many of us, some of us, you may not think you look the part. You may not think you are the Lord's anointed because of how you didn't have the best clothing growing up. You don't have the best education. You don't have the best looks. But inside of you, if the Lord chose to woke you up, you are the Lord's anointed. You are the anointed. You have been sanctified. You are the guys of this earth. So remember that. It's what's on the inside of you. I'm going to read on. It says, are here all thy children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. So he was a good-looking guy. He just wasn't built like his brothers. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. So I'm going to go back. I was just reading. Now it was about David. Let's go here to Absalom again, his son. 2 Samuel chapter 14, verse 25. But in all Israel there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty. So he inherited his father's good looks. From the sole of his foot even to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. So he had that ruddy countenance, which is a brown countenance, which is flawless skin. That's what it's talking about. Verse 26. And when he polled his head, for it was at every year's end that he polled it, because his hair was heavy on him. Therefore he polled it. He weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight. So that's some of the images I was showing you. It was kind of, my presentation was a little jacked up. I apologize. I don't know why I did that. But basically, all that hair, if you had to sit there and your hair done got heavy on your head, that's not white folk hair. White folk hair ain't going to have no weight to it. I looked it up in the previous class. In order for that hair to be Caucasian hair and to weigh approximately that much, it need to be 40 feet of hair. But an afro, it'd just be a good size afro out there here, which I've seen on many brothers. They usually have it locked up or braided up. You can have that much hair. A little bit of oil, a little bit of grease. You got a good 5 pounds of hair on your head. Easy. Most of us can grow that. That proved Absalom a black man. This Bible's about black people. Why white people have this Bible? Well, we know how. It's due to our fall. That's slavery, all that good stuff. So, from there, that was just a little quick touch up on some history. Now I'm going to jump to 2 Samuel, chapter 15. This is a little more, because last time I talked, I went through 2 Samuel 15. But just a quick touch on it. I'm going to read 2 Samuel 15, 1 and 2. Down to, we'll come to 6. And it came to pass after this, that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses, and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early, and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so, that when any man had a controversy, came to the king for judgment, then Absalom called unto him, and said, of what city art thou? So Absalom, that wasn't his role. He wanted position. He looked good, and he wanted position. So he'll jump in front of his, hey, what you need? I'll handle it. Say, what you need? Where you from? He was taking to himself authority. It says, then Absalom called unto him and said, of what city art thou? And he said, thy servant is one of the tribes of Israel. Verse 3. And Absalom said unto him, see, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. You see that criticism? You gotta watch that from brothers. Sneaky contingency talk. And the king ain't got nobody set up to hear your matters. Man. And you're right. Like, where's the judgment there? He was telling everybody they were right. Watch that spirit. The guy that will listen and be like, man, you're so right. Everything you say is right. He's trying to earn your trust, your favor, and manipulate you. The person that never says that you're wrong, the person that never corrects you, everything you do is right. When you know, that was a bad decision. No, you good, you good. Man, you're so smart. You're so wise. The man's trying to manipulate you. The man is playing you. That's what Absalom did. Watch this. Verse 4. Absalom said, moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man might have suit or cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice. That's some evil stuff. Let's go to Sirach 7 real quick. Just touch on that. That's evil stuff. Sirach chapter 7, verse 4 through 6. The Apocrypha. Sirach chapter 7, verse 4. Seek not of the Lord preeminence, neither of the king the seat of honor. This is what Absalom was doing. He wanted preeminence. He wanted a position. He wanted power. Justify not thyself before the Lord, and boast not of thy wisdom before the king. Seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity. But what is Absalom positioning himself for? He want to put himself in the position of judge. But he can't be that. He can't be that. But he's trying to make himself a judge. Anytime you're trying to move in a manner where you're trying to get power on your own, you want to be promoted, and you're trying to move a certain way to make it happen, it's usually evil. It's usually some evil, some covetousness involved. You should just do the work, especially in this truth. Just do the work required of that rank, and it'll come to you instead of seeking that rank. Then you'll be able to avoid having flattering titles. I'm going to finish that, and I'm going to go to that. It just popped in my head. It says, Sirach 7:6, seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity. Lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty, and lay a stumbling block in the way of thy uprightness. You're going to be judged according to how you deal with the people of God. And that judgment may not wait until you die. That judgment may not wait until the whole second death, final judgment. You may become judged in your own household as you deal with matters incorrectly. As you forget to show charity towards your brothers. If you become in that position of power, you may start to accept people's persons. You may come across a brother that's rich. You may come across a brother that's powerful. Come across a former, movie star or something like that. Like your Brandon T. Jacksons. One of those come in the congregation. And then here you are. You've managed to labor underhandedly to get position in the body. You kissed a whole lot of butt. And you tried to get to be a soldier or whatnot. Which, that ain't going to happen. The Lord going to sort you people out. Let's say that it happens. And you ain't really soldier material. You cheated on the test. You got the answers from somewhere. That's why brothers cheat on tests. I wouldn't want to cheat on a test and then get the position, and I don't know nothing. They had an episode of Seinfeld, I think it was George Costanza, what's his name, George Costanza, where he got a job that he wasn't qualified for. He didn't even know what the hell was going on the whole time. And the whole episode was him trying to figure out, hey, what do I do here? Yeah, he's just trying to hint that he doesn't even know what he was supposed to do. Who wants to be in that position? You know nothing of judgment. You know nothing of how to deal with matters. But somehow you find yourself an officer of 50. Somehow you find yourself, you nefariously made yourself an officer of 20. You nefariously became a soldier. But you literally don't know what you're doing. And you just wander around. Like after a while we find out, you probably don't know what the heck he's doing. You just made that to be an example. Say, hey, look, this is what not to do. Or you can get your mind right. So just be very mindful of that. Don't seek power. Don't seek authority. And you haven't studied. You don't have that zeal in you to fulfill the duties of that role of responsibility. That may work in Esau's workplace, but it ain't going to work here. But I digress. What was the scripture? That's in, seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity. Lest at any time, flattering titles. Job, that's what I said. Job chapter 32, verse 21. Watch this. Let me not, I pray you, accept any man's person, neither let me give flattering titles unto men. That's all a tool of the wicked. Evil people manipulate people by giving them flattering titles. They do it in church. deaconess. You got your bishops, your apostles, elders, evangelists. They give these titles to people in church, and they all don't do nothing. You couldn't tell me what those roles mean. A reverend versus a pastor versus... You all lie about God, and you worship white Jesus. There's no differentiating what those titles actually mean. They're just there to flatter people. And that's why there's so much, covetousness, greed, drama in the church, because you just have a bunch of fake people with fake titles maneuvering for power. That's why a lot of you will hear, I've heard church sermons talking about other churches. They'll do some slick talking about, yeah, down the street there, and you got that church over there, and it's trying to steal our members, and you got crap like that going on because there's a whole bunch of people unqualified to have the position they had. They're all unqualified, and they all just maneuver to seek position. It's a game, just like a fraternity. It's about position, just like your little clubs in school seek position. Oh, it's garbage. In this truth, we serve the people. We about the people. We live for the people because we love the people. And position comes after that. The Lord give me that. I'll give it to myself. Psalms chapter 75, verse 6. Watch this. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. That's what we read in the book with Samuel, finding the Lord's anointed, finding David. God is the judge. It says he putteth down one and set up another. So let God be in the mix. Even in your own lives, in your own walk in this truth. Don't seek to be judged. Don't labor underhandedly. Don't take the Absalom path, the Absalonian path. I don't know. Don't take the path of Absalom, trying to look good, when inside you ain't nothing. Matter of fact, let me get something real quick. I'm all over the place, but I think there's a message to be had in this. Sisters do that too. You know, sisters will take on a bunch of jobs in the body just to look good, just to get a husband, and then renege on the jobs that they took. Can I get a witness? Sisters will just take a bunch. I want to be on security and on the kitchen and on the decor, and then when they finally get a brother to approve, drop off all the groups. I'm busy. Or they get married. I don't have time anymore. Seen that. That's some bad stuff. Why not just love to do the work, and then the increase for a woman, the increase would be a righteous husband if you're single, or the position of a big sister, and then eventually like a leadership wife as your husband grows. Because really, you don't got a position. It says your position is whatever your Lord has said. You could be the wife of a whatever, and he'll tell you don't do nothing because you got the devil on you. But sisters do that too. Women are big on seeking position. That's why we don't give you no position. Watch this. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse... I'll start verse 1 down to 4. It says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they may also without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. Be in subjection so that you can convince your husband to do something good through your womanish wiles. You know what I'm saying? Rarely do you see a woman manipulate her husband for the good. It's always some type of manipulation for the bad. You always try to get him to do something horrible. When you see the man going off, he's murmuring about leadership. My Lord, please, you shouldn't do that. It's evil. No, look at what the scriptures say. What would King David do in this instance? Instead, usually the sister just join him in his evil. Like in Acts 5, with Ananias, she just joined him in his evil. So instead, you should try to win your Lord over to the right path. This is verse 2. While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning? This is his women's adorning. Let it not be that outward adorning. Let it not be that outward adorning, which would be the fake hair on your head. We know some sisters have medical reasons to have wigs. That's something different than you look through all the congregation and you see a couple of sisters that's got naturally long hair that might be straight, might be Northern Kingdom, and then you're like, I feel like I got to compete with that. And then you staple a wig up on top of your head, just like when you in the world. Or your purple garment look different than everybody else's purple garment. Or you come in with something crazy on your person every Sabbath where you stand out. Seen that too. It's just something like, all y'all supposed, look at all the brothers. They look like this. You look over there, you be like, if you couldn't see their faces, you couldn't tell people apart on the men's side. They all look like this. Now do that on the sister side. It's not the same. You look over there, like, that garment's different, that head wrap is huge and green, which, we would correct that. I'm exaggerating, but we used to see that throughout the years. That's a green head. Look at the size of her shades. You look at this giant necklace and stuff she got going. The women always do that. It's always a competition because they're seeking position. It says, who's adorning? Verse 3, who's adorning? Let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting of the hair and of wearing of gold or of putting on of apparel. That's what we were reading earlier. No, that's the Absalom path for the female. Look how good I look on the outside. Surely I'm in a better position than these other sisters that ain't dressed right. It says, but let it be the hidden man of the heart. That's what the Lord look for. What's on the inside. The Lord look inside your heart to see if you're treacherous, to see if you're evil. It says, verse 4 again, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit. You can't see that. You got to experience that. Does that sister have a meek and quiet spirit? Or she loud and obnoxious? That take time to see. And you can't tell how she dressed if that's what's inside. It says, which in the sight of God of great price. That meek spirit is you're ready to be instructed. Meek doesn't mean weak. It means obedient. It means you don't have your own will. You want to follow the will of God. You want to follow the instruction of who God set up, who God promoted. You're down with the program. You're down with God's plan. That's meekness. Like Moses. What God said, Moses did. When God said, cut off the heads and hang them high, Moses did it. That ain't weak. That's meek. You got to have that same virtue on the sister side. Instead of maneuvering for position, doing offices just to look good, or you want to sit closer to the front. That's the Christian church. You want a husband. But then when you get to offices, it was all fake. And that's the husband you going to get. You thought he was real, and he fake too. That purple shirt come off him the next week. Like, oh, shoot. I'm back to a brother. I wasn't really doing nothing. Because you weren't really doing nothing. Well, Sirach 23 real quick. I'm going to go back to Absalom after this. Sirach 23. Is it 23? Nope. Sirach 26. I'm sorry. Sirach 26, verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. That'll be your gift. But a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. So if you move like that, trust and believe, you will be a gift to a wicked man. You want to package yourself as an evil gift with a beautiful wrapping paper, and inside is nothing. You bring nothing to the table. You're faking this truth. You don't do nothing. You don't enjoy the work of this truth. You'll be someone's gift, but you'll be given to a wicked man. Vice versa, you wicked men that only seek position, that only want to tell black people what to do. I ain't coming to this truth to tell black people what to do. That is not fun. God said he said, if I would send you to the other nations, they'd listen. He said, but I didn't. I sent you to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, a stubborn and rebellious people. You got to understand, that's the job, y'all. You're sent to people that are programmed to not listen to you. This is a thankless job. You should not be in this job to look for praise and accolades. Sometimes that comes. You get honor. You get a little tiny bit of glory, some worldly glory. You know, you get views on some videos. People clap and stuff for you. But outside of that, a lot of people going to hate you. If you're doing your job right, a lot of people going to hate you and curse your name. And eventually, they're going to want to kill you. So, now, let me get back to Absalom. Boy, I pray you got something out of that. Because I really went to something else. So 2 Samuel chapter 15. And I went there because Absalom looked good. And he kissed behind to get his position. But it was very effective. And he did it for a long time. Watch this. Go to 2 Samuel again, chapter 15. Verse 4, watch this. Absalom said, moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man which have any suit or cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice. He said that because he wanted position. He said that because he looked good on the outside. Inside, he wants to hurt his father. He hates his father. The devil's on him to destroy his father's legacy, even once his father dead. But he looked good. Verse 5, I'm sorry. And it was so, that when any man came nigh to him to do obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him. That's how Absalom get down. That's how he got down. And on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. And so Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. That's how he maneuvered. And he took over their minds. And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king. So 40 years. That is a long conspiracy. That's a lot of time to formulate I want my father dead. It's not even good enough for him to be dead. How can I really destroy you want to destroy his father? And I need to recruit all Israel. That's how Satan plays. Satan played a long game. Watch this. It says, and it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed unto the Lord in Hebron. So I'm going to drop that. So I touched on that in other classes. But it's showing 40 years the conspiracy was growing strong. And you see that Absalom, he's recruited people into his kingdom. He's forcibly going to take the kingdom from David. Let me get one more thing. I'm going to get verse 10. And then I'm going to jump to where we're at to get us all caught up. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, as soon as ye hear the sound of the trumpet, then ye shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called. And they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything. Dummies. He recruited a bunch of dummies. That's who follow these people. Don't panic when there's a dummy that rises up in the congregation and then he's doing things off. You ain't got to murmur. You got to complain. Everybody that follow that dude is a dummy. Look at 2018. Look at all them dummies. It's the same 200 dummies that bounced. And what they doing now? Not a damn thing. Not nothing. Go find them doing something. Go find them marching the street. Go find them turning the world upside down. Most of them try to come back here. Because the people that left were dumb, and they took dummies with them. I know there was one in our camp. He ain't doing a damn thing. But anyway, it says, and Absalom sent for Ahithophel, the Gileonite, David's counselor. So this brother right here is going to come into play during this lesson. Ahithophel, a big counselor and a betrayer of King David. It said, David's counselor from his city, even Giloth, while he offered sacrifices. And the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom. So, I'm going to jump to verse, I'm going to keep reading. And there came a messenger to David saying, the hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. So David was aware, it's over, we got to run. Everybody's following your son now. Your son hates you. It says, and David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, arise, let us flee, for we shall not escape. Arise and let us flee, for we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly and bring evil upon us and smite the city with the edge of the sword. So Absalom was a real threat. David had to take off. So now we're caught up. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 16, verse 1. You say. It says, and David was a little past the top of the hill. Behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, met him. So Ziba, you read about him a couple chapters prior. This is one of the descendants, King Saul, and Mephibosheth. It says, the servant of Mephibosheth met him with a couple of asses saddled, and upon them 200 loaves. I'm sorry, he's a servant of Mephibosheth. Read it again. And when David was a little past the top of the hill, behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, met him with a couple of asses saddled, and upon them 200 loaves of bread, and 100 bunches of raisins, and 100 of summer fruits, and a bottle of wine. Let me see if my images are fixed. Give me a second. Let me see if this works out. Hold on. Transition back. Give me one sec. All right, so verse 2 again. Oh, verse 1 again. And when David was a little past the top of the hill, behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, met him with a couple of asses saddled, and upon them 200 loaves of bread, and 100 bunches of raisins, and 100 of summer fruits, and a bottle of wine. And the king said unto Ziba, What meanest thou by these? And Ziba said, These asses be for the king's household to ride on, and the bread and summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine that such as be faint in the wilderness may drink. And the king said, Where is thy master's son? And Ziba said unto the king, Behold, he abideth at Jerusalem. For he said, Today shall the house of Israel restore me the kingdom of my father. Now, let me go 2 Samuel 9 and 9, see what he's talking about real quick. So Ziba is a servant. I mistakenly said the descendant. He's a servant of Mephibosheth. 2 Samuel 9 and 9, it reads, Then the king called Ziba Saul's servant. So Ziba served Saul. And said unto him, I have given unto thy master's son all that pertaineth to Saul and to all his house. Thou therefore and thy sons and thy servants shall till the land for them, and thou shalt bring in the fruits, that thy master's son may have food to eat. But Mephibosheth, thy master's son, shall eat bread always at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then Ziba said unto the king, According to all that my lord the king hath commanded unto his servant, so shall thy servant do. As for Mephibosheth, said the king, he shall eat at my table as one of the king's sons. So he was always taken care of. David always taking care of him. So you see, that kindness is being requited. Now, David's getting taken care of in his time of need. So we always do good to people, and they'll take care of you later. It says, And Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Micah, and all that dwelt in the house of Ziba were servants unto Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for he did eat continually at the king's table, and was lame on both his feet. So the brother was handicapped. But the point is, he was well taken care of by David, even though Saul was the enemy of David. So that's that love David had. Now look, David being requited. Now he's getting, in his time of need, David's getting provisions while he's on the run. Going back to 2 Samuel chapter 16, watch this, we're verse 4. Then said the king to Ziba, Behold, thine are all that pertain to unto Mephibosheth. And, I'm sorry, let me read it again. Then said the king to Ziba, Behold, thine are all that pertain unto Mephibosheth. And Ziba said, I humbly beseech thee that I might find grace in thy sight, my lord, O king. And when King David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul. So, now here's a man from the actual family of the house of Saul. Now, this is interesting stuff. Let me see if I got that picture. I might not have it. I thought I had it. Oh, I do. Then came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came. So he came out cursing David. Got some imagery for you. He came out cursing David. So in the front, make sure I'm still streaming. All right, had a little technical issue. He came out and cursed at David, and it says, verse 6, and he cast stones at David. This man is throwing rocks at King David. Why? David's in a low state. He's able to do that. David's on the run. He said, cast stones at David and all the servants of King David. You get the next image up. So this dude is tossing rocks at David. And he cast stones at David and all the servants of King David and all the people and all the mighty men on his right hand and on his left. So this dude is bold. He said, and thus said Shimei when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, thou man of Baal. He called David the devil. He said, you are a man of the devil. He said, the Lord hath returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. And the Lord hath delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son. And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. Y'all excuse my voice. Allergies, getting sick, and been in camp like 2 days in a row. But he's tossing stones at David. So he should be taken out immediately. But what is he doing? He's exposing David's business. Because David did what? David did something treacherous, and he took Uriah the Hittite's wife and had him put to death. So this guy's Team Saul. He's Team Saul all the way. He said, "That's what you get. I love Saul." So he's tossing dirt and dust and rocks at King David and cursing him. In verse 9, it says, "Then said Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, unto the king, Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king?" Abishai said, "Listen, he's already dead." He said, "Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head." It's like, I killed his. Please, David, let me handle this real quick. David, please, I'll take this dude out real fast. It's nothing to me. And the king said, "What have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, Curse David. Who shall then say, Wherefore hast thou done so?" That's heavy. That's heavy, because David is acknowledged. Hey, listen, the Lord told him to do that. David is such a low estate, and he's so humble. He said, "Listen, let him curse. I did wickedness. Let him do it. Let him curse me." The Lord must have told him to do it. He's able to do it. I'm on the run. Watch what he says next. Verse 11. "And David said to Abishai and to all his servants, Behold, my son, which came forth of my bowels, seeketh my life." He said, look at the situation I'm in. My own son want to kill me. "How much more now may this Benjamite do it?" He said, of course, if my son want to do it, of course this Benjamite want to do it. Look, as King Saul's dead. We had this whole war. Of course this Benjamite going to want to do it. My own son want to kill me. He said, "Let him alone. Let him curse, for the Lord hath bidden him. It may be that the Lord will look on mine affliction, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day." That's the spirit we got to have on us. Somebody doing you evil, be say, "Hey, listen, let him do it." It's probably you get correction, and oftentimes we get corrected, and you be like, "Man, I was set up. Man, this dude told me to do this, and now I'm in trouble." Or, "Man, that ain't what you told me. You really told me this, but now I'm in trouble." But really, either you don't understand that you were in evil, or you getting punished for something else you did somewhere else. You got to let things happen to you sometimes. Let me get that real quick, 1 Peter. Because the Lord going to bless you for going through that thing. Whether you did it or not, you got to show humility. Like David. David's like, "Man, let him curse me. I done did enough evil to be cursed. Look what my situation is." It's 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 19. It says, "For this is thankworthy, that a man for conscience toward God endure grief, suffering wrongfully." Because what that man is doing, you get put to death for. You don't curse the king. So David shouldn't be suffering getting thrown rocks at. But he's like, "Hey, listen, let him do it. Let him do it." So what glory is it when you are buffeted for your faults, you take it patiently. But if when you do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently. This is acceptable with God. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow his steps, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. So look at Christ, perfect, did never sin, and suffered the worst death imaginable. So then look at David. David had an understanding beyond ours. He's like, all the stuff I did, and the man want to curse me, let him curse. Look at what my son's trying to do. He done took over the kingdom, he's trying to kill me. Let the man curse. Now the man gonna get his later. You're not gonna get away with it. But at this time he's spared. Let's see, verse 2 Samuel chapter 16, verse 13. I think we're at. Yeah. "And as David and his men went by the way, Shimei went along the hillside over against him, and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him, and cast dust." Let me put the picture back up. Like, this dude is hell bent on it. He don't care. He give no F's. He's still doing it. And the king and all the people that were with him came weary and refreshed themselves there. So David's wore out. Watch this. Now, and Absalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem. And Ahithophel, that's the counselor, with him. And it came to pass when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, was come to Absalom, that Hushai said unto Absalom, God save the king, God save the king. Now stop right there. I'm going to jump back to the previous chapter. Hushai, the Archite, is a double agent. Watch this. 2 Samuel chapter 15. You may remember this from if you go back to any classes I was doing in history in AM. 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 31. And one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. Now, you see, Absalom played the long game. When you go to God, you're playing the longest game. You're asking God that you're going to go all the way to the future with this. So David prayed to God, and now God going to take care of this thing. Turn the counsel of this betrayer, Ahithophel, David's counselor. David prayed, turn that counsel into foolishness somehow. Watch this. And it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount, where he worshipped God, behold, Hushai the Archite, that's his friend, came to meet him with his coat rent and with earth upon his head. And he was in mourning too. He knows the situation. He's hurt by it. It says, unto whom David said, if thou passest on with me, then thou shalt be a burden with me, unto me. So you can't come with me. You're going to be a burden unto me. Don't you see what's going on? Don't come with me. It says, verse 34, but if thou return to the city and say unto Absalom, I will be thy servant, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hitherto. So will I now also be thy servant. Then mayest thou for me defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. Double agent. I'm going to send you in over there. And you'll be a spy for me. While it looks like you also betrayed me. And then you'll help turn that counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. And it says verse 35, and hast thou not there with thee Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, more agents there. It says, therefore it shall be that what things soever thou shalt hear out of the king's house, thou shalt tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priests. Behold, they have there with them their two sons, Ahinaz and Zadok's son, and Jonathan, Abiathar's son. And by them ye shall send unto me everything ye can hear. They are spies. Now, let's go back. 2 Samuel chapter 16. So all this is some good stuff. This is very intriguing, exciting stuff, if you like the Bible. 2 Samuel chapter 16, verse 6, 2 Samuel chapter 16, verse 16. And it came to pass when Hushai, the Archite, David's friend, was come unto Absalom, that Hushai said unto Absalom, God save the king, God save the king. Absalom fell for that all, because he's vain. He's vainglorious. He's vainglorious, so he loves praise. And Absalom said unto Hushai, is this thy kindness to thy friend? Why wentest thou not with thy friend? So he's like, man, I thought you loved David. This how you show David you love him? What you doing over here? Why ain't you over there with David? It's intense right now. It says, and Absalom, verse 18, and Hushai said unto Absalom, nay, but whom the Lord and his people, and all the men of Israel choose, his will I be, and with him will I abide. I'm going to be with whoever the Lord choose and the people. And again, whom should I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son? As I have served in thy father's presence, so will I be in thy presence. Then said Absalom to Ahithophel, give counsel among you what we shall do. So now he's asking counsel. Hushai is obviously a prominent person with wisdom, even more so than Ahithophel, the counselor. So now he's asking Ahithophel, what's the counsel? He's asking everybody, what's the counsel what's the next move I should have against David? And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubines, evil, which have left to keep the house. Now remember, David left wives behind to watch the house. We read that. Let me get that real quick. 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 16. And the king went forth, and all his household after him. And the king left 10 women, which were concubines, lesser wives, to keep the house. They're still wives, but back then we could do that. Can't you do that today? No, horny brothers. No, you can't do that. It's illegal. You got to keep the laws of the land, Romans 13. It's not the time. You work at McDonald's. You're not getting 10 wives. Stop it. 2 Samuel chapter 16, verse 21. Again, it says, and Ahithophel said unto Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubines. That's some evil stuff. Which he hath left to keep the house, and all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father. Then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong. It says through this evil treachery, you'll get stronger. That's some evil, dark side of the force type stuff. Strike me down, it'll make me stronger. That's on that kind of stuff. That's some treacherous stuff. Sleep with your father's wives and you'll get stronger. That's some crazy stuff. That's evil. Watch this. So they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house. And Absalom went in unto his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. Watch this. Where was that? There's the PG version. That's Absalom. I'm going to read it again. So they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house. And Absalom went in unto his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. That's some evil stuff. And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So that brother was on point with his counsel. It never failed. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. So now we're going to go to chapter 17. It says, moreover, Ahithophel said unto Absalom, let me now choose out 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue after David this night. And I will come upon him while he is weary and weak-handed, and will make him afraid. And all the people that are with him shall flee. And I will smite the king only. So look at that counsel. This is actually very good counsel. David is weak. He is weary. We read that already. And everything is going against him. Watch how the Lord saved David in this moment. This is verse 3. And I will bring back all the people unto thee, the man whom thou seekest, as if he all returned. So all the people shall be in peace. And the saying pleased Absalom well, and all the elders of Israel. Then said Absalom, call now Hushai, the Archite also, and let us hear likewise what he saith. So remember, Hushai is the double agent. He's working for King David in the midst of this evil crew. And when Hushai was come to Absalom, Absalom spake unto him, saying, Ahithophel hath spoken after this manner. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the whoredom. Let's go back to the horrible treachery. I can't. Let me put the picture back up. I forgot. Y'all got to know how evil this is. We get a couple. He slept with his father's wives, y'all. I went by that too fast. Hold on. Give me Leviticus 18. The man got counseled to break the commandments of God. That's how evil the incoming kingdom was. Watch this. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 8. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. Look at that. Leviticus 20 and 11. It says, I'll start at verse 10. And a man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, and the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. And the man that lieth with his father's wife have uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. That's the judgment for that evil. Watch this. Deuteronomy 22 and 30, I believe. I went by too fast. That's a horrible abomination. It says a man, this is Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 30. A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt. What is going on? That's evil as treachery. Ahithophel gotta be judged. Absalom gotta be judged. Now, this is we're gonna tell you why this happened, but let's go to Deuteronomy 27 and 20 real quick, and then I'm gonna go to one more in the New Testament. Cursed be he that lieth with his father's wife. Concubines they're not just hoes. They're lesser wives. Excuse my throat. They are lesser wives. Concubines are lesser wives. Let me put that picture back up. Remember, back then, we had our own kingdom. We ruled the earth. David had, it couldn't measure the wealth. Because when we get the kingdom, it's not going to be a matter of can we measure how much money we have. Like how much is this translating to American dollars? You know how you translate money, and IMF and all that? It won't be no IMF. We the IMF. We say how much things are worth. We so wealthy, it can't be measured. So that's the kind of wealth we were dealing with. You understand what I'm saying? That's how brothers had more than one wife back then. Again, was that the intent and purpose? No, because you can read scriptures that say, neither shall the king multiply wives to himself. But again, just take a look at this. These are lesser wives. It's Deuteronomy chapter 27. In verse 30. 27 verse 20, I'm sorry. Cursed be he that lieth with his father's wife, because he uncover his father's skirt, and all the people shall say, Amen. This is agreed upon. So how does that strengthen Israel? Israel in wickedness right now. If that strengthens you, people should be going to find Absalom, put him to death, but they won't do it. Because it's treachery abound in the kingdom. Because of what David did as well. One more in the New Testament, 1 Corinthians chapter 5. Watch this. Verse 1. It said, it is reported commonly that there's fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife. This is treachery. And a man advised that a king of Israel, Absalom, who's not really king, do that to his own father. That's one of the worst acts in the Bible. That is a crazy, crazy thing. Shout out to the tribe of Reuben. Yeah, Reuben did the same thing. He slept with one of his father's wives too. Treachery. It's some weird stuff. But again, that goes to, let's go back to 2 Samuel. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 12 real quick. We got time? Yeah, I got time. Just to show you why this came about. It reminds you what David did. 2 Samuel chapter 12. I'm going to read from 1 down to 13. I'm going to read fast. 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 1. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David. So we're going back in time. Nathan coming to David, the prophet. And he came unto him and said unto him. Now, oftentimes when you're dealing with kings, this is wisdom. You're able to tell a story to David and give examples to David. This happened a couple times in the scriptures where they gave a similitude. Similitudes are powerful. I love them things. They help illustrate something. When you take yourself out of the equation and then you judge a matter as it's laid in front of you in a similitude, in an allegory, you say, hey, this happened. So what do you do if this happened and this happened? You'll be like, oh, well, according to the Bible, we'll do this. Well, you did that. Say again. You did that. You're like, oh, no, I didn't realize it. Because oftentimes we have a hard time taking ourselves out of the equation. So watch this. It says, there were two men in one city, one rich and the other poor. Verse 2. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds. The rich man is David. But the poor man had nothing. That's Uriah the Hittite. Save one little ewe lamb. That's Uriah's wife. She's a little lamb, which he had brought up and nourished up. And it grew up together with him and with his children. And he did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup and lay in his own bosom. It was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him. But took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come unto him. So is it that poor man had his lamb taken, and David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that have done this thing shall surely die. David, that's you. Watch this. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. That's some heavy stuff. He said, oh yeah, it was you. Ooh, you know that sword cut both. That's why it says Hebrews 4 and 12. That's the word is a sharp, double-edged sword. With what judgment ye judge? Let me get that real quick. That's why the scripture says, seek not to be judged. Watch it. It says, judge not, Matthew 7 and 1. Judge not that ye be not judged. Now again, it's not telling you don't judge. Of course we're going to judge. Don't be a Christian. You judge everything. You judge that your surroundings outside. You go to court, you get judged. You judge your children. It's talking about condemnation. It says, judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. David, being in his position, should have known. When you do those things, and then when you read that history and you're ready to judge a matter, he's the king. He could say people die. Be careful. What judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. That's what happened right there. Am I right? That's what happened. That man shall surely die. He said, oh, by the way, David, that's you. Oh, all this is happening before the Lord. Watch this. It says, in going back to 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 7, and Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. I would have gave you more and more. I gave you everything. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Said, you ain't even kill him yourself. You used the Ammonites, the damn Japanese, to do it. Because he sent him into the hottest battle on purpose to get him killed, because he lusted after another man's wife, breaking the commandment. He says, now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house. Absalom. And not just Absalom. There's a bunch of stuff. Not just Absalom. There was a bunch of stuff that happened. So I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor. That's Absalom. And he shall lie, he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this sun. Say this thing gonna happen openly in front of everybody. And this is what we're reading about. For thou didst this, verse 12. For thou didst it secretly. But I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. That's heavy. God called it. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because of this deed, thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme. The child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. So there was one judgment, but that wasn't it. That's why we can be very mindful. Captain Gadol, I was saying last night to us, we were breaking bread, eating at a restaurant. He was talking to us. Must be very careful how we treat God's people, his heritage. We'll be judged in our own households. That's what we're reading here, a very heavy statement. How you deal with the people of God. That's why I said seek not to be judged. You really want that responsibility. If you mistreat somebody, your judgment, it may not appear to you immediately, but you'll encounter issues in your own house because of how you judged the matter years ago, because you didn't deal charitably, you dealt hastily, you dealt evil with the people, you manipulated people, you misused your power, and you got away with it, you thought, and then your kid starts acting up. Your kid is a fornicator. Your kid does some crazy stuff like we're reading here. You be like, dang, why is this happening? Oh, my family, why? Why is it? Well, I did judge that matter wrong that time. Didn't apologize. I did throw that person out the body. Secretly, I didn't consult with leadership. I didn't really look at the details. I did cuss that person out that time. But I got away with it because I'm an officer of 90. Nah, you go judge you. Your judgment, it might come here and there. It might come with God know how to hurt you. He'll make your place wonderful. He know how to hurt you. He know how to hurt you. You may not fear physical pain. You may be a big old tough strong guy, but you weak to your wife. He might make your wife extra evil one year and do something bad to you. Put your business out there. Same way that David got shamed. Ain't nothing worse than someone uncovering your secrets. I'm going to go back now. 2 Samuel. Time is ticking. 2 Samuel chapter. I kind of want to touch on what I just said. Where am I? Wisdom of Solomon. Give me a sec. Yeah. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12. I want to touch on that thing I just said with the judgment. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12. Verse 21. Let's watch this. It says, with how great circumspection. That's careful examination. That's what circumspection means. With how great circumspection didst thou judge thine own sons, and unto whose fathers thou hast sworn, and made covenant of good promises. Therefore, whereas thou dost chasten us, thou scourgest our enemies 1,000 times more. To the intent that, so it's all talking about God and how God judges, and how God judges the nations more. He says, to the intent that when we judge matters, we should carefully think of thy goodness. We should think of the mercy God has shown unto us. And when we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy. So, being very careful with judgment, being very careful how you deal. And it's to emphasize mercy, because you're going to make mistakes too. So be very mindful. God have mercy upon you. But you see what he do to the heathen. He destroyed them. So when we judge matters, be very careful that you judge with mercy as you would like to be judged. Judge as you would, you know what I'm saying? Judge as you would be judged. That's critical. Now, going back. I pray that makes sense. I think there's more on that, but time is ticking. Yeah. I'm going to go back to 2 Samuel. Chapter 6. So we at 17. And verse. I'm going to start back at 2. So we go back to the thought. 2 Samuel chapter 17, verse 2. This is Ahithophel's counsel against David. And I will come unto him while he is weary and weak-handed, and will make him afraid. And all the people that are with him shall flee, and I will smite the king only. Now I'm going to jump down. This is Hushai's counsel, verse 7. And Hushai said unto Absalom, the counsel of Ahithophel has given is not good at this time. He said, no, it's not good counsel. So Hushai must be more respected than Ahithophel to be able to say that. The double agent Hushai. The counsel that Ahithophel have given is not good at this time. For said Hushai. Now this has never happened. This has never been said. Because he's always on point. Ahithophel is always on point. Hushai's like, nah, that's not right. He said, for said Hushai, thou knowest thy father and his men, that they be mighty men. They be chafed in their minds as a bear robbed of her whelps in the field. He said, these brothers are ready. Like a bear robbed of her whelps mean like a she-bear. Like the movie The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio. That's a she-bear. It was because of her youngling was out there. She tore Leonardo DiCaprio apart. Watch the movie. She-bear will eat that. She-bear's in the Bible when we dealt with go up thou bald head, and it came and ate all 40 children. She-bears. So he's saying David's like a she-bear right now. David will tear you apart, which is not true. David is weak and weary. But he's lying and saying, hey, no, David, y'all know David? David will tear you apart right now. You don't want to do that. It says, and his men as well. It says, and thy father is a man of war, which is true, and will not lodge with the people. Behold, he is hid now in some pit or in some other place. And it will come to pass, when some of them be overthrown at the first, that whosoever heareth it will say, there is a slaughter among the people that follow Absalom. And he also that is valiant, whose heart is as the heart of a lion, shall utterly melt. For all Israel knoweth that thy father is a mighty man, and they which be with him are valiant men. So he's up in David. He's big up in David. David's powerful. Yo, and all Israel going to see David's powerful. And y'all going to be defeated because the people are going to doubt because of how powerful David is. But actually, David's at his weakest. Mentally, physically, he's down. Now will be the time to strike. But that's why the double agent is there. The Lord got him there to save David's life. Watch this. Therefore, I counsel that all Israel be generally gathered unto thee, from Dan even to Beersheba, as the sand that is by the sea for multitude, and that thou should go to battle in thine own person. So shall we come upon him in some place where he shall be found, and we will light upon him as the dew falleth on the ground, and of him and of all the men that are with him there shall not be left so much as one. Moreover, if he be gotten into a city, then shall all Israel bring ropes to that city, and we will draw it into the river, until there be not one small stone found there. And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. For the Lord have appointed to defeat the good counsel of Ahithophel, to the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom. That's what happened. Highlight that verse right there. The Lord wants evil to happen to Absalom. So that counsel of Ahithophel, which was good, has been defeated. That's the Lord's plan coming to fruition. Then said Hushai to Zadok and Abiathar the priest, thus and thus did Ahithophel counsel Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus have I counseled. So he went and gave the whole matter to the other spies who are going to pass it to their sons, who are going to pass the message to David. Now, therefore, send quickly and tell David, saying, lodge not this night in the plains of the wilderness, but speedily pass over, lest the king be swallowed up and all the people that are with him. That's the whole sending the information. This is some intense stuff. Now, Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed by Erigel, and they might not be seen to come into the city. And a wench, which is a young girl, that's a wench, went and told them. And they went and told King David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them, that's a young man, and told Absalom. So that reminds me of the dude from Birth of a Nation. Remember a little kid went and told? That reminds me of that. Little kid went and told what was going on. Little bastard. Anyway. And nevertheless, a lad saw them and told Absalom. But they went both of them away quickly, and came to a man's house in Bahurim, which had a well in his court, whither they went down. I wish I had a picture, but there was a well, and they went and hid in there. You know those Nazi movies where they hid in the floor? Some stuff like that. They had to hide because they were about to tell the treachery Absalom was doing. Remember, the spies that give David the heads up. Don't do this. Here's what's being spoken about. Do this instead. So then they were intercepted. A little boy seen him, went and go told, little snitch, went and go told, and now they're going to come and try to kill the spies. So the spies have to hide in a well. Watch this. And the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth, and spread ground corn thereon, and the thing was not known. So they hid. And when Absalom's servants came to the woman to the house, they said, where is Ahimaaz and Jonathan? It's just like those movies with the Nazis. Like, where the people? Where they at? And the women said unto them, they be gone over the brook of the water. And when they had sought and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. So then they got away with it. And it came to pass after they were departed, that they came up out of the well, and went and told King David, and said unto David, arise, and pass quickly over the water, for thus hath Ahithophel counseled against you. Then David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan. By the morning light they lacked not one of them that was gone over Jordan. And when Ahithophel saw his counsel was not followed, so David got away safely. But now we're back to Ahithophel, the traitor, David's former counselor. And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and arose and got him home to his house, to his city, and put his household in order. It means he went and got documents out. He signed his will. All right, this is going to go to this person, and make sure to get this, and make sure my mama gets this, and the house will be in this person's name, and my wife will do this. And say, hey, everybody, you get this land, and you get this land, and you get this land. I got to go die. I got to go die now. It says, put his household in order and hanged himself and died and was buried in the sepulchre of his father. That's the reward for the treachery he did to David. His mind couldn't grasp being wrong. He destroyed himself because he was wrong, because of his evil. And all praise to the Most High. You betrayed the King David and went with his dumb son and counseled the most evil counsel on the planet. So yeah, he had to take his own life. Then David came to Mahanaim, and Absalom passed over Jordan, he and all his men of Israel with him. And Absalom made Amasai captain of the host instead of Joab, which Amasai was a man's son whose name was Ithriah, an Israelite, that went into Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, the sister of Zeruiah, Joab's mother. So Israel and Absalom pitched in the land of Gilead. And it came to pass, when David was come to Mahanaim, that Shobi, the son of Nahash, of Rabbah, of the children of Ammon, and Machir, the son of Amiel, of Lodabar, and Barzillai, the Gileadite, of Rogelim, brought beds and basins and earthly vessels, and wheat and barley and flour, and parched corn, and beans, and lentils, and parched pulse, and honey, and butter, and sheep, and cheese of kine, for David and for the people that were with him to eat. For they said, the people is hungry, and weary, and thirsty in the wilderness. See how David was taken care of? After all that, and he made it through, and then he delivered such a great bounty of food. The Lord took care of David. Don't think about the people that brought to him. The Lord took care of David after that. David showed his humility. He accepted the cursing. His son turned against him because he's in his repentance. He's seeking God's favor. Let the bad things happen to me. But at the same time, we got these different men in position, like Hushai, that saved his life to defeat the evil counsel of Ahithophel. But the prophecy had to be fulfilled. Because of your evil, David, all that thing you did in secret, the Lord going to bring it out openly in a way you cannot imagine. And that's some treachery out of the house of David. I think I got another script. I got one more script. What we got? Let's see. So that was the end of chapter 17. Let's go to Psalm 51 real quick. Yep. Watch this. Psalm chapter 51. Verse 11. Verse 10. It says, I'm sorry, verse 1. Let's read it real quick. It says, have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy loving kindness, according unto thy multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgressions. This is a psalm of David. This is David. I acknowledge what I've done. I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. Against thee only have I sinned, and done this evil in thy sight, that thou mightest be justified when thou speakest, and be clear when thou judgest. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Behold, thou desirest truth in the inward parts. And we talked about that, not the outward. God wants truth, what's inside of us. Thou desirest truth in the inward parts. And in the hidden part, thou shalt make me to know wisdom. It's in your mind. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. That means my sins. Wash my sins from me. Make me to hear joy and gladness, that the bones which thou hast broken may rejoice. David's bones is broken by the treachery of his sons, that brought upon him by his own evil. But to watch this, says, hide thy face from thy sins, from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Don't take the spirit of discipline from me. It says, restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit. Then will I teach transgressors thy ways, and sinners shall be converted unto thee. That's why we go through the things we go through, and become broken, and recover ourselves, not to be selfish, but to support this great nation that is upon us. As we, as future kings of this earth, must do, we must teach transgressors God's ways. Through our experiences, once we put away our sins. We done the things that David did, and we face judgments in our own house. Many of us have had children taken out of our house that left this truth. Like I had a son that left the truth. Many of y'all might have kids that left the truth. I had a wife that left you. I had a husband that left you. And maybe what did I do? What did I do? You ain't looking at all the things you've ever done in your entire life. Humble yourself greatly. You don't know what's all the sins. If you had a book of it, it'd be like this. Humble yourself greatly, that you may be renewed with a clean heart, so you can teach transgressors the ways of God through your experiences being a sinner and recovering from sin. Watch this. This is verse 14. Deliver me from blood guiltiness, O God. Remember, David was a murderer. Thou God of my salvation, and my tongue shall sing aloud of thy righteousness. O Lord, open thou my lips, and my mouth shall show forth thy praise. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else I would give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offering. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O God, thou wilt not despise. That's why he let that man curse him. He had a broken spirit. He said, let him curse me. My own son want to kill me. Of course, this Benjamin want to kill me for the house of Saul. It says, do good in thy good pleasure unto Zion. Build thou the walls of Jerusalem. Then shalt thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offering and whole burnt offering, and they shall offer bullocks upon thine altar. Hey, all praise to the Most High. Hey, I'm gonna end it there. I pray y'all got something out of the class. That's the treachery of Absalom. Lord's will, teach again soon, and continue to go into what Absalom was dealing with, and how he was a plague unto David, and how that thing finally got settled. The conclusion of the whole matter. Hey, Most High in Christ bless you all. Support the Booster Club. Make sure you giving to the land drive, the land blitz that we're doing. Make sure you giving. All right? Don't be a hypocrite. Don't we want our own? Give to the land blitz. All right? Make sure you support the Booster Club. Subscribe to IUIC Raleigh while you're at it. IUIC Raleigh. We also got IUIC Raleigh 2 because Esau the Devil, and Captain Gedaliah, and Captain Josiah, they bring too much volume. Remember the mighty men of IUIC Raleigh, also Noah, Officer Michelle. They took our channel down last week. Lord's Will is back up today. Escape the Plantation 2.0. Lord's Will today at 7 p.m. Y'all tune in. All right. I'm been Officer Rayuel. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless you all. Hey, get ready for Passover. Shalom.